I have written 3 poems, sort of adventures of a young beat Bobby, and here they are. A Fright in the Night. When I was a young policeman in Leeds, serving the community with all its needs, I had many an adventure and scare. This is an occasion that made me swear. I was on my beat late at night and had one heck of a fright. I was checking the property both front and rear. Nothing a Bobby would do nowadays, no fear. In those days, if there was a burglary on your beat, you had to find it. Or next night you were in the hot seat, having to explain the last time that you'd made a proper check. If you had not done that, you got it in the neck. This time I went into a dark yard to the rear door. There was a howl and I nearly fell on the floor. With a thump I was hit on the shoulder. Crikey, was I hurt? Had I been hit by a boulder? I shivered and shaked and nearly passed out. What was it that had given me such a clout? I now desperately needed the loo. What had happened? What was to do? I looked around and saw the yowling cat that had landed on my shoulder. On a wall it was sat, so I did not have to call for help, and no one had heard me yelp and cuss and swear and jump a lot. It taught me a lesson I never forgot. If I had met burglars that day, I did not know the name of the shop, no way. I would have had to say, help, I'm somewhere near the top of Queen Street at the rear. Thereafter I always had a look at the shop name. After all, this was serious and not a game. And now we have the glittering burglary. When I was working as a beat Bobby, working seriously at my job was no hobby, one night I'd watched some TV police show and a robber had smashed a window with a blow from an old metal dustbin thrown hard, smashing the glass and causing plenty of shards. Then at 10 p.m. went on duty once again, out in all weathers, even snow and rain, and pounded all night my beat, always ended up with sore feet. That particular night I heard a crash. It made me run up the street, made me dash. Guess what? A copycat thief had picked up a tin dustbin and thrown it through a china shop window. The damage was grim. The thief had climbed through the large jagged hole, floundered around, having no control, had smashed loads of china. It was all in bits. However, he was not bright, he did not keep his wits. He had been in the rear room, moved a box full of cash, and picked up another, which turned out to be rash, as it contained all the broken ornaments being saved for the sale. When he got home and opened it, he would surely wail. I followed the trail of glittering glass on the pavement, down a side street, and standing with a street lamp adjacent was a bloke who I saw throw a box over a wall. And when I ran up to him, he did at me bawl, "Copper, I ain't done nothing you can prove. Why don't you get lost? Get off, get lost, move!" I looked at him smiling and feeling just swell. There was a clue or two, I can you tell. Under the glow of the street light so bright, he sure looked a very special, glittery sight. All over his hair and every part of his clothes, glass was sparkling, even on the tip of his nose. I desperately tried not to laugh. His excuses were ridiculous, oh so naff. I arrested him with a smile on my face. The forensic evidence all over him sure was ace. He had wanted everything to deny, but I was able to prove that all he said was a lie. Start again. And then we have Saved by a Girl. When I was a young man in the police force, it was a very different service from now, of course. Had police stations everywhere, and the sight of a bobby caused no one to stare. In Morley there were 40 of us, 10 to a shift. Nowadays the stations are closed most of the time, not saving money, more rationalising so fine. There are no spending cuts, just making things more efficient. They tell us the service is the same, nothing different. In those days when Gene Hunt ruled the CID, there were no equal opportunities, as we will see. Every police station had women officers, but only a few, and they were not paid as equals, that is true. We had a young lady called Maggie, so sweet, all smiles and so cheery, but not light on her feet. Maggie now is a slim lady, oh so tanned and neat. One evening it was getting dark and murky. I was out in a police car, feeling quite perky. I got a call that an alarm had gone off at Quarry Lane. Checking out burglar alarms in the dark was a pain. Went up to the industrial estate. I was really alone. Found the gates of the compound locked and was shown by the light of my torch a tear in the mesh fence, so managed to wriggle in, feeling quite tense. I walked round the rear and there saw, oh my, 2 hulking great bruises breaking in. I thought, oh, so this is how I die? I called for help on my radio, then I thought I'd better put on a fine show. I ran at the fellows, yelling so loud, waving my truncheon so proud. Shouted and bawled, hoping that at least one might run away. Called blimey, oh no, they decided to stay. Fortunately they were as startled as me and frozen really could not flee. I handcuffed them both and relieved them of an iron bar, which I flung away, oh so far. Now I could hear the arrival of many a police car, and I was about to thank my lucky star when the men seemed to recover their wits and started pulling and trying to shake me to bits. I called out for help and I could hear the male officers moaning and yelp. How did you get in? Where do I go? I thought, Christ help me. Oh no. Just when I thought that the men might struggle free and start to get the better of me, I saw from the corner of my eye a sight that truly made me sigh. Maggie was there and had looked at the fence and immediately made it past tense. By lifting it high and crawling under, no way was she going to let me get blown asunder. Seeing her flushed and covered in mud made me certain that she was no dud. She had more than proved her worth was equal and had made her male companion seem a bit feeble. Once she got to me, we got all under control. The other officers had scored an old goal. I always thereafter believed in the power of girls and learnt a lot as this story did unfurl.